In May 2026, Princeton University ended a tradition that had survived for 133 years. For more than a century, it had been considered one of the most respected academic traditions in America. Then, almost overnight, it came to an end. The tradition was simple. Students could take certain exams without a professor watching them. No surveillance, no cameras, no one standing at the front of the room, just trust. The entire system depended on a single assumption: that students would choose honesty even when nobody was looking. For generations, many people viewed this as proof that character erred more than enforcement. It sounded inspiring: a university built on personal responsibility, a community built on honor, an academic system built on trust rather than suspicion. Then artificial intelligence arrived. Almost immediately, headlines began asking the same question: had AI finally destroyed academic integrity? For many people, the answer seemed obvious. Students now had access to tools capable of writing essays, solving problems, and generating answers in seconds. Surely AI was the thing that broke the system. But there was a problem with that explanation. The data told a different story, a much more uncomfortable story. Because long before ChatGPT existed, students were already cheating. Long before large language models, long before generative AI, long before anybody worried about prompts. The problem wasn't new. The technology was new. Those are very different things. And once researchers started looking closely, something surprising emerged. AI hadn't created a crisis. It had exposed one. The numbers had been hiding in plain sight for years. Nearly 1/3 of Princeton seniors admitted they had cheated at some point during their education. Almost half knew about honor code violations and chose not to report them. Only a tiny fraction actually turned in another student. The system appeared strong from the outside, but internally, it was already cracking. Even more surprising, Princeton wasn't unique. Similar studies from Stanford, Middlebury, and other elite institutions revealed nearly identical perns. Honor codes looked impressive on paper, but enforcement depended on something very fragile: students policing each other. And humans have never been especially good at that. Then AI entered the picture. Suddenly, educators believed they were facing a completely new threat. Yet the percentage of students seeking shortcuts hadn't changed dramatically. What changed was something else: visibility. The cheating became invisible. In the past, cheating often left clues: a student passing notes, looking at another paper, using a hidden phone. Breaking rules created visible behavior. Teachers could notice it. Classmates could notice it. AI changed the equation. A student staring at a screen while genuinely working looks almost identical to a student secretly generating answers. The behavior became indistinguishable. The system lost its ability to separate effort from automation. And that terrified institutions. Suddenly, schools discovered a deeper problem. Many assessments had been designed around information scarcity. The goal was simple: memorize information, recall information. That model made perfect sense centuries ago. Books were rare. Knowledge was difficult to access. Finding information often required years of study. Remembering facts provided enormous value. The world rewarded memory. Today's world is fundamentally different. A smartphone can access more information in seconds than most people could encounter in a lifetime just a few generations ago. Facts are everywhere. Information is abundant. Knowledge has become cheap. This creates a difficult question. If every answer can be found instantly, what exactly should education be measuring? Memory? Recall? Or something else entirely? Many employers have already answered that question. When companies hire data scientists, engineers, analysts, or researchers, they rarely care whether someone can recite information from memory. They care about judgment, problem-solving, decision-making, and the ability to recognize when a tool is wrong. A calculator never destroyed mathematics. Google never destroyed knowledge. Search engines never eliminated expertise. Instead, they shifted the skills humans needed to develop. AI may be forcing the same transition, only much faster. This is where the research becomes especially interesting. Studies consistently show that passive AI users perform worse. People who copy answers without thinking often understand less, remember less, and learn less. Yet, the opposite can also happen. Students who actively challenge AI responses often perform better than those working entirely alone. They ask questions, compare explanations, search for weaknesses. Use AI as a sparring partner rather than a replacement. The difference is subtle but important. One approach offloads thinking, the other amplifies thinking. The technology remains identical, but behavior changes, and the outcomes change with it. This suggests that AI may not be the real threat. The real threat is intellectual passivity, the temptation to stop struggling, to stop questioning, to stop thinking deeply. Education has always depended on friction. Confusion creates learning. Difficulty creates growth. Questions create understanding. Remove all friction and something essential disappears. That is why Princeton's decision matters. It is not really a story about cheating. It is a story about institutions confronting a changing world, a world where information is no longer the scarce resource. Human judgment is. The future may belong to people who can navigate information rather than memorize it. People who know which questions to ask, which answers to trust, which conclusions deserve skepticism, and which ideas deserve further investigation. In that world, intelligence may look very different. Less about storing facts, more about connecting them. Less about recalling answers, more about discovering questions. And perhaps that is the lesson hidden beneath the headlines. AI did not break education. The system was already struggling. AI simply forced everyone to look directly at the problem. Sometimes technology doesn't create a crisis. Sometimes it reveals one that was already there. Which leaves us with a final question. If machines become better at generating answers, what should humans become better at? Because the future may not belong to the person who knows the most facts. It may belong to the person who understands them best. And that difference could determine what education becomes next.